The United States Constitution stands as the foundational legal document of the nation, establishing the framework for governance and delineating the separation of powers among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. Since its ratification in 1788, it has remained the cornerstone of American democracy, guiding the country through periods of expansion, conflict, and social change. Drafted in 1787, the Constitution arose from the need to replace the Articles of Confederation, which had proven ineffective in creating a strong central government. The Constitutional Convention, held in Philadelphia, brought together delegates from various states to draft a more robust legal framework. Central to their debates was the question of balancing power between state and federal governments, as well as concerns over individual liberties and representation. The Constitution is divided into several key components: the Preamble, the 7 Articles, and the subsequent amendments. The Preamble sets forth the fundamental objectives of the government, including the establishment of justice, maintenance of domestic tranquility, and promotion of general welfare. The 7 Articles outline the organization of the federal government, addressing legislative powers in Article 1, executive authority in Article 2, judicial functions in Article 3, state relations in Article 4, the amendment process in Article 5, the supremacy of federal law in Article 6, and the process for ratification in Article 7. Shortly after the Constitution's ratification, concerns arose regarding the protection of individual rights. In response, the first 10 amendments, collectively known as the Bill of Rights, were introduced and ratified in 1791. These amendments serve as essential safeguards against governmental overreach and ensure protections such as the freedom of speech, religion, and the press in the First Amendment, the right to bear arms in the Second Amendment, and protections against unreasonable searches and seizures in the Fourth Amendment. The Bill of Rights also includes procedural guarantees, such as the right to due process and a fair trial in the Fifth and Sixth Amendments, and protection against cruel and unusual punishment in the Eighth Amendment. These provisions have played a crucial role in shaping American jurisprudence, often serving as the basis for landmark Supreme Court decisions. Beyond the Bill of Rights, additional amendments have significantly altered the legal and social landscape of the United States. The Reconstruction Amendments, ratified in the wake of the American Civil War, redefined citizenship and civil rights. The 13th Amendment in 1865 abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment in 1868 established equal protection under the law and due process for all citizens. And the 15th Amendment in 1870 prohibited racial discrimination in voting rights. Subsequent amendments addressed further aspects of democratic governance and social progress. The 19th Amendment in 1920 granted women the right to vote, marking a significant step toward gender equality. The 24th Amendment in 1964 eliminated poll taxes, removing economic barriers to voting. The 26th Amendment in 1971 lowered the voting age to 18, reflecting the changing role of young people in political participation, particularly during the Vietnam War era. The role of the judiciary, particularly the Supreme Court, has been central in interpreting the Constitution. Through the process of judicial review, the court assesses whether laws and government actions align with constitutional principles. This authority was established in Marbury v. Madison in 1803, where the court, under Chief Justice John Marshall, asserted its power to strike down unconstitutional legislation. Over time, the Supreme Court has addressed key constitutional questions related to civil rights, federalism, and governmental power. In Brown v. the Board of Education in 1954, the court ruled that racial segregation in public schools violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Overturning Plessy v. Ferguson from 1896, In Miranda versus Arizona of 1966, the court reinforced Fifth and Sixth Amendment protections by requiring law enforcement to inform individuals of their rights during custodial interrogations. More recently, constitutional interpretation has played a role in decisions concerning privacy, voting rights, and executive authority. Cases such as Roe v. Wade of 1973 and Dobbs v. Jackson, Women's Health Organization, in 2022 have reflected evolving legal perspectives on reproductive rights. Similarly, rulings on campaign finance and election law, such as Citizens United versus FEC in 2010, have shaped the landscape of political participation and free speech. While the Constitution has provided a stable framework for governance, challenges persist regarding its application in modern society. Issues such as technological advancements, national security, and expanding civil rights continue to test constitutional principles. Debates over the Second Amendment and firearm regulations, for instance, highlight tensions between historical interpretations and contemporary concerns over public safety. Additionally, the balance of power between the executive and legislative branches remains a recurring topic, particularly regarding war powers and executive orders. The role of the judiciary in shaping policy through constitutional interpretation further emphasizes the ongoing dialogue between different branches of government and the public. The United States Constitution remains a foundational legal document that has adapted to meet the evolving needs of the nation. Its structure, amendments, and judicial interpretations reflect the dynamic nature of governance and the protection of individual liberties. As new legal and social challenges arise, the Constitution's ability to function as a guiding legal framework will continue to be tested, reaffirming its role in shaping the legal and political landscape of the United States.